Hello there YouTube, it's Boyby3 back with another kicking, you guessed it, action figure review. Today we are reviewing more 3 3/4 inch Marvel stuff with the Hasbro Iron Man 2 movie series 3 3/4 inch air assault drone. This is one of the Air Force drones that Hammer and Whiplash sent after Iron Man and War Machine. It's a very cool figure. It goes great with the weapons assault drone, which I am unfortunately having to sell because the weapons assault drone might be the greatest 3 3/4 inch figure ever made. You can check out its review. I reviewed it years ago. Never got around to reviewing this guy, but I'm selling him now because I'm selling off my whole 3 3/4 inch collection because I just don't really collect 3 3/4 inch anymore. And God, it's making me nostalgic, so I just gotta review the ones I haven't, you know? I really hate to get rid of this line because it is my favorite 3 3/4 inch line of all time, as I've mentioned many times on this channel, and I think already once in this review. So I hate to get rid of him, but he's not as good as the weapons assault drone. He is good though. I mean, it's a whole new sculpt just for him, not something that they could reuse as much as, like, say, an Iron Man sculpt. A lot of great, like, gunmetal and metallic silvers and stuff. See, nothing is just the color of the plastic it was cast in, right? Everything is its own color. See, even painted under here. I'll show that later in accessories. I'll keep it out of the way for now. He's really cool. Really cool. The head actually looks up far, unlike a lot of the Iron Men in this line, so he can get in a good flight pose, which is good because he do be flying. Looks side to side. He's got a good wobble. You know, I like a good head wobble. I like the confused sideways look, you know. I love that. Up and down on the arms. Could go a little higher, but it's pretty good. He's got big bulky shoulders, you know. Nice rotation. You've got like an elbow bend, but you have to turn it a weird way to kind of get it to work. I think maybe it's supposed to have another rotation in there, but mine like doesn't really want to move. But yeah, I mean, I guess that works. You've got like kind of a ball peg thing going on with the fists, which is very interesting because most of the figures in this line just have like a swivel on the wrist or something. So that's very different, and it gives him a little more range. Nice movement on the torso. A lot of nice movement on the torso. And then you have the legs, which kick out so much farther than you would expect just by looking at them. Lord, that is a good kick. They kind of go back, but only like this because of his hard plastic bussy. But they also kind of only go forward like that too because of his hard plastic front bussy. Whatever you call the bussy of the front. But there is kind of some swivelly action, just but Lord, that's a great kick. Wonderful. He has a double knee bend, which is really nice, and I love how these knee joints are actually painted and sculpted to look like mechanical parts, so they really blend in and look natural. Excellent work, Hasbro. And they kind of put these big round things on the joints here, the pegs, to kind of make them look more like part of the mechanics and not just part of the figure. You know, lots of little details like that all over the place. Up and down on the feeties, side to side on the feeties. No pivot, even though he kind of feels like he has one, but he doesn't. Just looking at him, you'd be like, oh, those big old feet surely pivot, but remember, this is a figure from quite a while ago. The MCU is old. God, it started when I was in like high school. No, middle school maybe. Wow. 8th grade, I think. Crazy stuff. You gotta love it. Speaking of things you gotta love, let's look at his accessories. Unfortunately, he does not have nearly as much as the weapon assault drone. He has this cool jetpack, which is nice. He's really sculpted well without it, but you pop it on and it's got little antennae for radio communication and stuff. I think it looks really good. Actually, I do prefer him with the jetpack on. It really makes him look more like he's specifically built for flight, you know? Like the other drones have a flight, I think, but he is specifically built for it. Very cool. So let's move him himself to the side, and all these Iron Man 2 figures come with a stand, whether it's the comic, movie, or concept series. Doesn't matter. They all come with this stand and a set of armor cards. I didn't take these out of the sleeve, nor do I plan on doing so, but they slot into here, and then you can put your figures on the stand and have kind of like a Hall of Armors display going on, which I did in fact do. I'm not sure I've ever even put him on his stand. No, I did, because some of the villains didn't go in the Hall of Armors, I think, at first, but then I eventually put them in. And this would fit better if it wasn't in the plastic, but it goes on the side, and then you can, once again, as I said, have like a little display with the armor info, which is very cool. But also, the armor cards themselves are a gimmick where you can mix and match the cards. So one card has the head and arms, one card has the torso, and one card has the legs, and you can mix and match them with other cards from other figures. So you could have like a half Iron Man, half drone, or a third Iron Man, third drone, third Crimson Dynamo. You could make your own little characters with the cards, which is very fun for kids and kind of fun for adults, because it makes a cool kind of techie display for your adults, and it's a fun little thing the kids can do too. I love this figure. I mean, he doesn't have like 2 chainsaws and 2 whips and an interchangeable head and all that jazz that his counterpart did, but he's more simple. You know, not as many little things to lose. So there is an upside to it, and believe it or not, there are people out there that don't care about accessories. There are some people who basically want their figures to be statues, and to that I say, just collect statues. No, it's fine. Some statues even have accessories, actually. I'm just goofing around. Now, the mighty man must get into his size comparisons. First up for size comparisons, my cat's chewing on the tripod. Stop it. Stop it. Ooh. But also, we're going to show him with more 3 3/4 inch Marvel stuff from Hasbro. So here on the left is something from his own line, and it only matters if he scales with his own line, you know. It is actually the Iron Man 2 concept series Ultimate Armor Iron Man, which is really just a Mark IV with a few little changes. The main change, of course, being that it's painted like the comic Ultimate Armor. So this gives you also a good idea of how he would scale with a Mark IV figure, which I also have for sale and have reviewed. And both of these guys are going to be for sale, and I have reviewed them as well. But he looks great with this Iron Man. He's big and imposing next to him like a villain should be, even if he was more of a fodder villain, which means you could just army build them if you wanted, which would be cool. I wanted all the drones. I think they made 4 different ones. I didn't get 2 of them, sadly. But here on the right is another 3 3/4 inch Marvel figure from around the same time that was also really good. The Marvel Universe line is the Marvel Universe 014 Scarlet Spider. You know, it's a Marvel review, so you gotta show something spidery, right? And I think he looks great with that line too. 2 of the best 3 3/4 inch lines ever made, in my opinion. I hate to get rid of these figures, but there's rent to be paid and new figures that I want to buy, and I need the space for them and the money for them. And before we move on, I do want to show him with a 6-inch Marvel figure. This is the Hasbro Marvel Legends SPDR Build-A-Figure Wave Kane Scarlet Spider, which is their second Kane Scarlet Spider that they made. And yeah, of course, it doesn't work at all. But if you're the type of person that doesn't care about scale and cares more about theme, and you put all the same characters together, no matter the scale, as long as they're the same theme, you might not mind. Even though, honestly, this guy's paint is actually better. This guy's size and articulation are better. This guy's paint kind of knocks his out of the water. So, all in all, what are my final thoughts on the Marvel Hasbro Iron Man 2 MCU movie series Air Assault drone figure? This is a really cool, unique figure. I feel like Hasbro is never going to make these drones into 6-inch Marvel Legends. That seems like the type of thing they'll do when they're really, really out of MCU stuff to crank out. But I wish they would, because I would get him and all the other drones as 6 inches, because I really like their looks, and I really loved these 6-inch, or sorry, these 3 3/4 inch, 3.75 inch figures. I really did like them. They had cool accessories and everything, and his articulation's a little weird, but it works. It works. I will miss this figure. He is from my favorite 3 3/4 inch line of all time, and admittedly, I think Iron Man 2 is actually kind of underrated. Yeah, the villain sucks, but it's not about the villain. The real villain is alcoholism. The real villain is depression. Anyway, it's a really cool figure. I hate that I have to sell it. Check out the links down below if you want to see where you can get it. I don't know if it's going to be in my online or physical store yet. I usually don't know that until after I film the review. That's when I price him and everything. But he is complete with all accessories, as is the Scarlet Spider and Ultimate Armor Iron Man that you saw a second ago, as well as many other things. I have reviewed every figure that you saw in this video now, so you can check out the other reviews if you'd like. The Scarlet Spider and Ultimate Armor Iron Man were very recent reviews, but the Kane Scarlet Spider I reviewed quite a while ago. That's it. Thank you once again. See you all next time. Bye for now.